Yo, what's up, everybody? How's it going? Marcos Villegas, Fight Up TV, going live and in living color with y'all. Today is October 22nd. Hope you guys are doing well. If you're joining us on your lunch breaks, your soon-to-be lunch break, calling it early for today. Welcome welcome all to another Fight Up TV live chat. What's up, everybody? What's up, chat? Go ahead, chat. Hit the like. And if you're joining us for the first time, follow us on social media at Fight Up TV. Follow me, myself, at Hey, it's Marcos V on Twitter and on Instagrams. And give us a sub, man. We're close. We're close to the 2 million mark. Got a little bit to go, but we're inching closer and closer. I'm hoping we can hit that milestone of 2 million subs by the end of the year. Hello, everybody in the chat. Some people are asking, where's Abel Sanchez? I can hit up Abel. I don't know what he's doing. I didn't tell him I was going live today. So if you guys want Abel in the chat, let me know. I can text him right now and see if he'll join us. But a big thing, man, that big thing that irritated me, annoyed me, was the reaction to this Tim Tszyu loss against Bahkram Murtazaliev, which is a tongue twister of a name, actually. But over the weekend, out in the Caribe Royale Resort in Florida, Tim Tszyu getting dropped 4 times, and then the corner throwing a towel, stopping the fight against Bahkram. Soon after, man, and this always happens when a fighter loses in boxing, which is dumb as well. The perception of the O, and the perception of, like, if a fighter loses, they're not good anymore. Granted, I know it depends on how they lose, and Tim did not lose well. It was a one-sided beating. He was knocked down 4 times in that fight. But everybody saying, not everybody, but I have it jotted down here, some of like the takes that I saw that irritated me, and I'm just kind of go and answer back. But just people saying that Tim's done, he's finished, he should retire, he has no more punch resistance, that he's never going to be able to get his career back on track. Oh boy. So where to begin? Well, first off, overall, watching the fight, and I kid you not, okay, within the first minute, I remember thinking to myself, yo, this is going to be a hard fight for Tim. Like, Bahkram is really sharp, countering well, and he's really quick on the inside with these counters. And then that little headbutt happened. Tim touches his head, and I'm kind of like, that's weird. Weird in the sense that, like, he stopped the action and looked over. I know some people mentioned, like, hey, that's PTSD from the Fundora fight, and we'll get into that. But if there was one thing overall that happened in the fight, that moment did make me kind of raise an eyebrow and think, wait a second. Granted, is that a normal reaction? Yeah, I would think so, given what happened to him earlier in the year in that Fundora fight. But then the first knockdown happens, the counter hook right on the tip of the chin, and I was just like, oh boy, this is not good. And then the next and the next and the next, with the corner ultimately throwing in the towel. There's a comment here, Tim didn't do his homework on bruh. I'll get into all that, but I do want to go and get into Tim's reaction after the fight, because that was another thing that I was just like, oh, wow. On many different levels, just in life, man, like a loss, a dub, an L, it's just an emotional roller coaster, especially in sports, but especially now, excuse me. And you could tell that this loss, Tim was just in shock, and a loss is a hard thing to take. Like, just in me in general, like on losses I've taken just in life, like you feel embarrassed, you question yourself, a lot of self-doubt, a lot of like, yo, what am I doing? Like, you can't imagine that all that is heightened in sports, and especially in boxing, where these boxers, man, they wear their heart on their sleeves. They're very emotional people, man, and they should be. They're passionate. That's where it comes from. Like I try to like always relate to these fighters, or try to think like, hey, where are they coming from? And in the terms of someone being passionate and emotional, it's because they've put their whole damn life into something. Whenever someone is passionate about something, that's where that's coming from. Like, they have no backup plan. Like, this is it. So I could see like why these fighters are as passionate, and sometimes they get emotional as they do. But let's go ahead and put on the clip here of Tim reacting to the loss. Let me just remove this real quick. Remove from studio. Here we go. This is Tim post fight, like not like maybe like 5 minutes after the loss. So let's go ahead and yeah, we're live, bro. We're live. We're live. Everyone, we're live. Yes. So go ahead, hit the like, subscribe. Here's Tim after the loss. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Night, you have your good nights and your bad nights, and tonight was just one of those things. I don't think it changes anything in regards to who Tim Tszyu is, and it probably, if anything, showed the warrior that lives inside him that he's never going to back down from anyone.
Yeah, look at Tim though right now, man. You could tell like this loss is like,
and whenever Tim Tszyu fights, that's how he'll always show up. So
man, I can't imagine putting like on the media side. Obviously when something like this happens, we want to hear from the fighter. We want to get answers. We want to get the reaction. We want to ask him, well, yo, what went wrong? What were you thinking? But as the athlete, man, having to face us, face the press, face those hard questions, and then, questions of like, yo, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Like, yeah, it is a lot. And I'm seeing here, he's super bummed out, says Eliseo. Mr. Rosario, hold your head, bro. But let's continue. This was immediately after the knockout, or not the knockout, but the corner stoppage.
From us, we're still super proud, and I know all the texts I got from Australia, right behind Tim, and it's just one of those nights. And I'll let you fire away a few questions, really, Timmy, if you want. Not too many.
Did clash unnerve you at all when you obviously thought you may have reopened?
So they're asking him about the head clash right there in the first round. You see like a little zoom of his head. I see the scar just a little bit.
Can't recall.
Dang, he can't recall the first round. He said there were, or the headbutt, not the first round, but the headbutt.
When you got buzzed early, that you kind of maybe lost your feet a little bit and just had to fight on instinct after that point?
Can't recall. Honestly, can't recall.
So him saying he can't recall makes me think that he might have been concussed.
Tim, Kevin Garcia with Fight Hype. Here's my question. Just explain whatever you're thinking about right now.
And yeah, this part right here where they ask him like, hey, what are you just thinking about? Which when I heard that, I was just like, oh man, like that's rough.
That, obviously I don't want to ask you how do you feel, because we know it's a tough loss for you, but just what's going through your mind?
What just happened?
Yeah.
Like, what did I get hit with? And couldn't regroup, and I don't know, man. Just shit doesn't go your way, and you just have to bounce back, And I was positive after the Fundora, but I got to find more answers with this one. Like this didn't go according to script. It was a little bit different. I felt unbelievable. I'll be honest with you. Felt unbelievable. I had a great prep, so he got me, man, and it was a better man on this night, and we live and we learn.
Thanks, guys. Cheers. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, man, Tim's super bummed out right there. But what did he get hit with? A lot of questions regarding like what went wrong for Tim Tszyu in that fight. I'll get into him. I do want to go to get some reaction from Bahkram after the fight as well. I'm gonna go ahead and play that tape now, where he talks a little bit about the fight. But just Tim's demeanor, man, you could tell like he really taken this loss really to heart the night of. He posted a message on his Instagram on Sunday, I believe, saying like he's going to be back and he's going to move forward. But let's go ahead and go to Bahkram.
Это твое лучшее было выступление в карьере?
Ну, наверное, да.
I guess so.
Were you? Do you think people underestimated you going into this fight?
Ты думаешь, тебя недооценили до этого боя
Definitely
люди?
underestimated him.
Если честно, мне вообще без разницы.
And on that point, I've seen a lot of people say like, hey, why was Tim even matched in this fight? I saw one of the takes here on my notes. Let's see. Okay, here we go. The bad matchmaking. Why did you put Tim into this fight? This is another one where I kind of felt like, okay, there needs to be some sort of context here for that. Because, yeah, on the surface, you would think, why the hell would you put Tim in a fight with this guy? He just got off of a fight with Fundura, who's tall, has a reach advantage. This guy, taller than Tim, reach advantage. What are you doing here? So one of the tweets that I saw was about that. And, just thinking like, okay, why was Tim put into this fight? Well, one, it was a title fight, bro. Title fight. This is a title fight. It's for him to be champion again. Like, you're going to take that. Okay, like seeing like the landscape as well, like the other champions, like that's a fight that he can make. Yes, the matchmakers, Tim's team probably looked at the tape of his last fight, Murtazaliev, and thought, we can beat this guy. This guy didn't look that good against Jack Colque. We can beat him. But here's the thing that was revealed on the broadcast and during the week, during the fighter meetings and some of the interviews that Murtazaliev did. In that last fight, I believe he was going through Ramadan. He hadn't eaten. He hadn't hydrated at all. And he went into that fight like that. That to me is insane. To be on a fast, go into a title fight. He went, 12 rounds. And he beats dude. Like, that's crazy to me, to be honest. But that's what skews the matchmaking. You look at that last performance and you think, okay, Tim's got this. So, there's a little bit of context there with people saying, like, he should have never been matched up with this guy. D-Style Boxing, what's up, bro? Great work, brother. All people calling it dumb matchmaking didn't say it before the fight. None of them. Yeah, because they're probably going off the last performance. That's what I was just saying right now, dude. Like, he didn't look good that last fight. And I'm going to be honest. I was not familiar with Murtazaliev at all, to be honest. But, and I'm not kidding you. Within the first minute, I thought like, this is not looking good. Like, this is going to be a tough fight for Tim. But if you're basing it off of that, you think, he would have done well against him, but I guess not. Thanks for that, D-Style. Appreciate the super chat. You guys, go ahead and send in your support via the super chat. Really appreciate that, D-Style. Let's go and continue to hear.
Кто меня оценивает, недооценивает, я иду своей дорогой. И все, для меня это не имеет никакого значения. Сколько людей, столько и мнений.
Honestly, it doesn't matter to me who thinks what. I have my own path and I walk with my own path. As many people, there's so many opinions, so it doesn't matter to me.
Your team all week said that you were coming here to knock Tim out. Did it go exactly the way you thought it would go?
Yeah, he
Твоя
knocked him
команда
out.
сказала, что ты придешь и ты его досрочишь. Так было, как ты планировал все?
Ну, мы создавали причину, а там на все воля Всевышнего, значит, так должно было быть, да.
We were just creating the purposes and everything just for God's willing. And yeah, I guess.
Did you think when you caught him that first time that he was gone after that point? It looked like he really never got back in the fight.
Как думаешь, после первого нокдауна вот тогда все получилось, у него перестало все получаться, потому что такое ощущение было, что он уже не смог вернуться после этого нокдауна?
Наверное, это, скорее всего, надо спросить него, но этот левобоковой был очень сильный, и он не ожидал его, а когда ты удар не видишь, он вдвойне сильнее становится.
I guess you gotta ask him that, but that left hook was very, very powerful, and he didn't expect it. And when you don't expect it, it's double. It gives you double impact.
Yeah, I've always said this because I've heard it from fighters when you get knocked down or you get hurt. Sometimes it's a flash knockdown where it's just something that happens in a flash and they get their faculties back and they're fine. Other fighters have told me like, yeah, man, like even though I trained my ass off. I was in the best condition ever. When you get knocked down, when you get hit with a punch that hurts, like it it saps energy out of you. It's like in a video game, one of the like Street Fighter or Marvel versus Capcom, when you shoot a super and you see your health bar just go and like it's recovering, you see the other bar and it's recovering little by little. They've told me like it's like that. It's hard to recover when you get hit with a good shot. Like it saps your energy. Like it's difficult, man. Now imagine getting knocked down once in the second round, and mind you, okay, on the point of the chin, and then getting up 3 more times and continuing to fight. Like, you got to commend Tim's heart, to be honest, to be able to go through with something like that. And him landing Murtazaliev on the tip of the chin reminded me of when Tarver landed his hook against Roy Jones Jr. on the tip of the chin as well. It's just a beautiful, perfectly timed punch by him. But yeah, man, like it's tough to recover from these things, like, to be honest, and that's the other thing. Like I heard like, hey, Tim doesn't have punch resistance anymore, blah, blah, blah. Like he's done. Like he can't take a punch. Like, yo, okay, let's be real here. Murtazaliev, if he lands that punch on anybody at 154 pounds, that precision punch right on the tip of the chin, like your chin can only take so much pressure until you're either knocked out or knocked down. It's not like dependent on the size of a person's neck, or even though some people will tell you that. Like, no, this is science. Your chin can only take so much PSI until your brain gets rattled to the back of your skull and you're either knocked out or you get knocked down. He would have knocked down just about anybody at 154 pounds, landing that punch the way he did flush. So, like, for people to say, like, oh, yeah, he doesn't have any punch resistance, that's stupid. It's stupid, because anybody else gets hit in the chin like that, they're going to go down. Like, so that's the other thing that I saw that I was like, bro, like, really? Like, he's going to knock anybody down in that weight division if he lands that punch right on the tip of the chin. Like, come on. All right, back to Bahkram.
Can you reveal anything about the strategy that you implemented against Tim Tszyu?
Можешь что-то нам выдать по стратегии, которая была до этого боя против Тима Тszyu?
Да, была работа посмотреть первый раунд, присмотреться, как он бьет, в первую очередь, какой сильный у него удар, и уже ловить на его ударах, потому что люди многие говорили, что я очень размашисто бью, но Тим тоже бьет очень размашисто, поэтому это было видно и заметно именно его удары.
Well, I was thinking in the first round just to feel him out, feel his power, see how hard he hits. A lot of people saying that, you can see my shots, I hit sloppy, but he was hitting like that too, so I could see everything, so I wanted to counter him on that.
Yeah, I didn't think Bahkram looked sloppy, honestly. I thought he looked really fast on these exchanges.
Who would you like to fight next? The world is your oyster now.
Я думаю, это понял. So yeah, I guess you understood.
Объединение поясов с любым чемпионом, было бы интересно подраться, потому что было бы хорошо провести пару боев с чемпионами, объединить пояса и подняться на весовую выше.
I'm just interested in unifying my title, fight any champion there is there. I want to fight a few champions and then move up division.
Man, so 54 right now is a great little division, man. You got a lot of guys there. We had a poll there. I don't know if you guys had a chance to go and take the poll. We asked, who should Murtazaliev fight next? Crawford, Madrimov, Fundura, or Charlo. Overwhelming amount of people wanted to see a unification with Terrence Crawford. But, man, there's so many matchups there for him. And you got to think, with this win, because he doesn't have a huge name. He just got the biggest win of his career, does Murtazaliev. He's with Main Events, which is, a promoter that does work with everybody. And he's a Muslim fighter. You got to think that they're going to, and they should, I think they probably should do this. Go and try to market him in Saudi Arabia and have fights over there with Riyadh season. It makes sense, and there's a lot of fighters there that makes sense to make fights with. Him and Madrimov, him and Crawford, even though, the winner of Madrimov, Bohuchuk, against Murtazaliev, a unification with Terrence Crawford. That's tremendous. Him and Fundura, I think from a stylistic matchup, I think him and Fundura is a crazy freaking fight. But It's a lot of exciting, good fights for this guy, and he's going to be a problem, man. Like this guy's going to be a handful. Like you just tell by the way he fought Tim the other night.
Was that easier than you expected?
Было легче, чем ты думал.
Да я, если честно, не думал. Я, как и на интервью говорил, если будет в первом раунде закончиться, я готов буду закончить в первом, в третьем, в 12-м. Да, ну, бой не получился слишком сложно, потому что он прошел очень быстро. Но я был готов к любым исходам. Мы готовились на все 12 раундов.
Honestly, we didn't plan anything. If it ended in the first round, just like I said in the interview before, it would end in the first round. If it ended in the third round, I would not expect anything. I was ready to go all 12 rounds. Yeah, it was not that hard because it ended so early and I didn't get hit too much. But yeah, so I was ready for all 12 rounds.
He refused to defend himself. Did he impress you the way he kept fighting back instead of defending himself?
Тебя очень сильно удивило то, что он вместо того, чтобы защищаться, он пошел вперед и начал с тобой драться.
Ну, я не знаю, может быть, он просто не пришел до конца в себя и не особо знал, что он делает, но он очень храбрый парень. Он очень храбрый парень и продолжает драться. И судья ему давал продолжать, чтобы он мог себя показать после 4 таких жестких нокдаунов. И ему большой респект, то, что он дрался реально как мужик.
Maybe he didn't recover well, so he didn't really quite understand what he was doing. But he was so brave out there, fighting after all those 4 rounds. Even the referee gave him so many opportunities to fight, and after 4 rounds, he fought so brave, and I give him a lot of respect. He's a real man.
He's a real man. Yeah, you bet your ass he's a real man. Jeez. Was he surprised? Yeah, he was surprised. Who gets hit with punches like that and pops up from the ground? But that is maybe a point of constructive criticism there for the future when you get knocked down like that. Maybe don't be as quick as getting up. Take the knee, take your time, take the full 8 seconds. If the guy's rushing you, go and just grab him, hold him, and move around, get your bearings, get your feet beneath you. Kill the clock a little bit. Give yourself time to go and recover. That's for sure. But yeah, man, every time Tim would get knocked down, yeah, he popped back up. I think even Thurman on the broadcast said the same thing. Like, hey, man, like he's being too quick with getting back up. Adam Kelly, what up, man? Big shout out to Adam Kelly. Super chat here. Thank you. Appreciate that, bro. What'd you think of Tim Tszyu's performance? What do you think about these takes saying that he should retire, that he's done, which to me, I think that's ridiculous. I'll get into that right now, but let's go ahead and keep hearing from Bahkram Murtazaliev on this win and who he wants next, because in the next few minutes, he starts calling out people in specific.
Just before he got out of the ring, he went over to you to say something. You spoke for a little bit. What did he say to you?
Before or after?
No, just after.
Сразу после боя он подошел к тебе, чтобы что-то сказать. Что он тебе именно конкретно
Да,
сказал?
он просто благодарил меня за бой. Это всего лишь спорт. Бокс это всего лишь спорт. После ринга, после войны уже мы пошли на мировую, перед боем он там говорил какие-то, не особо хорошие слова насчет меня. В принципе, я ему особо повода не давал, но бой закончился без обид. Мы пожали руки как воины, и на этом все закончилось.
Yeah, he just came up to me. At the end of the day, this is just a sport, and I had nothing personal against him. Before fight, I guess he was promoting and he was saying some stuff that, was kind of bothering me, even though I didn't give him any reasons for that.
Yeah, he was saying he was like a step aside fighter because they had paid this guy step aside money, I think like 4 times, 4 fights. I might be wrong, but I could have sworn one of them was Charlo. I think that's what he's referring to.
But after the fight, we just shook the hands. We have a peace with each other, and he just congratulated me and say thank you for the fight.
So I know you mentioned, champ, that obviously you're down to fight anybody in your weight division, but a name that fans here in America will be calling for sure is Charlo. Any interest in fighting Jermell Charlo?
Oh man, this guy versus Jermell Charlo, that's an awesome fight. I want to see that. That's a dope fight. Make that fight.
Ты сказал, что готов со всеми чемпионами драться, но вот в Америке очень популярен в твоем дивизионе Чарло, который не является на данный момент чемпионом. У тебя есть интерес именно с Чарло подраться?
Там, я говорю, мне без разницы, с кем драться. Если же не получится договориться, у кого есть пояса, мы будем выбирать из более лучших доступных бойцов. Поэтому будет это Чарло, будет это Кроуфорд, будет это Фундора, Спенс. Не имеет никакого значения.
He wants all of them. He wants all of them.
Это пояса. Если нету поясов, боев за пояса, то можем подраться хоть с кем.
Well, my priorities is to fight for more titles against Spence, Fundora, or Crawford. But if we cannot make it happen, then we will choose the best option for us, what will give us more opportunities.
Просто люди не знают, кто меня тренирует. Рома,
Just
Ром,
people don't
пойдем.
understand who trains
Если
me.
бы они знали бы, пойдем сюда.
If they knew who's my coach.
Если бы они знали,
Decide.
пойдем, Ром. Если бы они знали бы, как.
All right, so he's giving his trainer props. But another super chat here from Matt Borgerson. Hey, what's up, Matt? How you doing, bro? Hope you're doing well. Let me know where you're tuning in from, man. I really appreciate that, and appreciate the super chat and the support and the love that you're showing us. Everybody else in the chat, say what's up as well, where you're tuning in from. Give this a like as well as we go and answer Matt's question here. If you have any questions or comments that want to be read live on air by me, go ahead and use the super chat function. So what up, Maddie? That's an awesome fight. Charlo, yes, I agree that is an awesome fight that I would like to see. Oh yeah, this thing covers my face. Hold on. Boom. Okay, there we go. But I'd prefer to see him fight Murtazaliev, the Madrimov Bohachuk winner, or Virgil Ortiz. I think Ortiz should get that test. I'm going to flip it. He's the world champion, is Murtazaliev. I think all these guys should fight each other to fight him, to be honest, because he's the world champion. Though it doesn't work like that. Name recognition is more important than that for boxing these days. But just me personally, I would want the Madrimov Bohachuk winner to fight Virgil Ortiz, and whoever's the winner of that, go and fight Murtazaliev. I want to see Murtazaliev in a unification with Terrence Crawford. I think that'd be a great fight, or any one of the other champions, and then let Madrimov and Bohachuk settle their ish, which that's going to be a good fight as well. Stylistically, it's going to be a very great fight, and then go in and have Bahkram up in there. Tuning in from New Jersey. Hey, New Jersey. I always tell my our Matt Tucker, New Jersey is a beautiful place. It's a great place. It's the Garden State. I like New Jersey, to be honest. I've been there. Just don't stay in Newark at night. I think that's what I've heard from people, right? Fort Lauderdale, New York, Miami, Toledo, by way of Detroit. Dang, that's great, man. A good representation of the country here. A lot of East Coasters, man. I'm glad you're tuning into us. Let's go ahead and continue with Bahkram here.
If they only knew how he trains me, trust me, nobody would have taken the fight with me.
Now I want to know how he trains him, man. How's this homeboy training you, man?
Как ты думаешь про Крофорда? Что думаешь про Крофорда?
Рома, как ты думаешь про Крофорда?
What do you think about Crawford?
If we have enough time, we can be ready for anybody. They don't surprise us with Ramadan fights. They don't surprise us training at nights. They don't surprise us sparring at 3 in the morning because he's in Ramadan. He's a very religious person. He's very nice to everybody, but sometimes they push us in a corner. This time we had all the opportunities to train, right? I've been telling everybody it's going to happen. They didn't believe me. There's so much hype on the internet. People calling crazy stuff like bomb, who's this guy, who's that guy. Well, now you guys know who's this guy, what's he capable of, So thank you.
If we have enough time,
thank you for hyping up this fight so big for him, and now we stole all the hype. Right? We come, we see, we conquer, and we go home. That's it. That's what happens.
Люди просто не понимают, как он меня мучает на тренировке.
People don't even understand how much I suffer during trainings with this guy.
It's a love and hate relationship. He hates me, but now he loves me.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Oh man, now I want to talk to his trainer and see like what in specific he does for training and preparing for fights. Oh, Matt again with another super chat, man. Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for that. Let's see here. Matt Borger said, if you want to discuss something, read something, go ahead and use the super chat function, guys. That's on here. I'm surprised Tim Tszyu overlooked Ramadan for a Muslim fighter. Almost all team put that into consideration before looking at previous fights. I'm sure the trainers looked at previous fights, but like the saying says, you're only as good as your last fight, and I feel like your last fight takes so much weight or more weight when preparing a game plan for a fighter? Like, well, this is the most recent performance. This is how they looked the most recent. Like, you can't, you look at a fight where he did something 6 months ago compared to a fight where he did something 2 years ago, and you think, well, he's not that fighter anymore. This is the closest representation of who he is as a fighter is this last fight. It's just skewed a little bit because of that Ramadan issue, which I didn't even know about that. A lot of people didn't become aware of that until they mentioned it on the broadcast or listened to a few interviews that Rahman did during that fight week, where he said, like, do not use that as an example for me as a fighter. That was one of my worst performances, and he mentioned what he was going through. But to be honest, that's a tough one, man. That's a tough one to know. How are you supposed to know that? But let's get into some of these tweets that I saw in terms of just, I don't know, to me, they're just bad takes, just dumb takes, honestly. Okay. The overwhelmingly one, Tszyu should retire. He's done. Like, shut up, bro. Like, come on, dog. Like, Tim Tszyu at the beginning of this year was an undefeated world champion, okay? Beginning of this year, young undefeated guy. He goes into the Fundora fight, unbeaten. He was the favorite in that fight, okay? And then, what was it, in the second round? He suffers this gruesome horror movie-like cut. He's gushing like crazy. Like, he has to fight through it. He ends up dropping a decision loss to Fundora. And look, Fundura's already a handful, man. Without that cut, like, he's so awkward and tall and in his volume, and like, come on, dude. He has this cut leaking into his eye like a faucet, and the fight ends in a split decision. A split decision with a freak cut, okay? So it makes you wonder, it makes me wonder, how different would that fight have been if Tim didn't suffer that cut, okay? He fought with that cut, with blood leaking into his eye, split decision in that fight. So chat, let me know. What do you think would have happened in that? All right, Matt back at it again. I honestly really just consider that this Tim's first loss. The second fight is a real loss to me. Tim would have won that fight, in my opinion, without that gash. A lot of fans feel that as well. I've heard that from other people saying that, Matt. It's a good point, and that's the point that I'm making, that it sounds so ridiculous, dumb to me. People are saying, oh, he's had 2 losses now, he's done. When, like, that first defeat, that's just, what are you going to do in that? He almost won that fight with that cut. Coming into that fight, he was the favorite. He was the champion. He was undefeated. So for people to call for his retirement, it's just, people always do that, but I think it's the dumbest thing. All right. And then even after that, he was signed to fight Virgil Ortiz. The cut doesn't heal, and then he goes into this fight with Bahkram Murtazaliev. Oh my goodness. All right. Some more of the tweets that I saw on Twitter that I read, and I was just kind of like, what are you saying? Like, what are you talking about, man? The only one where I was surprised, and I felt, okay, maybe there's a point there. And Nerd here just mentioned it, the cut. A lot of people said that they wonder if Tim has, PTSD from the cut versus Fundora, based on the reaction that Tim had in that first or second round, where he touched his head, he looked at his glove to see if he was bleeding, and then he went over and looked at Bahkram. Honestly, dude, like, anybody in that position would have done the same damn thing. Okay, you suffered this big gruesome cut that cost you the fight how many months ago, and then you get headbutted in that same area. Like, you're not gonna go and touch your head and be like, and look at your glove and be like, what the hell, am I bleeding? Like, it's common sense. Like, come on, guys. All right. Another stupid take I saw on the internet over here. If I was advising Tim Tszyu, I would definitely advise him to retire. Sad to say, but it's obviously the wise choice for Tim. Hopefully he makes that wise decision. His long-term health depends on it. Retire? No, shut up. Long break? Yeah, he needs a long break. He's still young. He's what, like 28, 29? Like, obviously he needs to tighten up his defense, work on his head movement. He can't just walk forward anymore against fighters. He has to incorporate better footwork, better angles. He has a lot to work to do, and he's acknowledged that. And he's going to do that. He's a young guy that I'm sure looks at his work and knows, hey, I did this, and this wrong. I'm going to go and try to fix it. I think any fighter in that position is going to do that. But to advise him to retire at 29, come on, dog. That's a stretch. He's been a pro for 8 years, man. Yeah, he was knocked down 4 times in the fight, but like, look, anybody else in that position would have gotten clipped with those kind of punches right on the tip of the chin, knocking up. Tim got up, okay? He got up. So that's yeah, man. A long break and 2 tune-ups. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that. That's exactly what should happen. But for the whole, he's done. He has no punch resistance. Blah blah blah. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. It's dumb and it's very short-sighted. Okay. So another thing, also saying like Tim's punch resistance. If he didn't have punch resistance, if Tim's chin was gone, okay, he would have never gotten up after that first knockdown. He would have been out on his back, sleeping. Like he wouldn't have gotten up. That's another thing. He got up, all right? Yes, he was getting knocked down, but like you got to see where those punches were placed. They were perfectly placed punches. There was other times he got hit with big punches and he was there. And he like come on, guys. See where the punches are being landed, all right? And like I mentioned earlier, it reminded me of when Tarver countered Roy Jones on the point of the chin. If Murtazaliev hits anybody at 154 on the tip of the chin like that, they're going to go down, not just Tim Tszyu. It's all of them, okay? The other thing, someone said, I did a random Twitter thing. I just put in Tim Tszyu, looked at the top tweets, and then looking at that and being like, okay, what is this person saying? So someone else mentioned, Tim is slower now. No punch resistance. There we go, punch resistance. Like, come on, Tim's slower. That's Tim. Like, Tim's not Manny Pacquiao. Like, he seemed to have the same pace, the same speed as he did in the Fedora fight. If the only thing is, yeah, he was a little bit more reckless in there. I felt even very early on, I felt like, he's throwing caution to the wind. I know Tim's an aggressive fighter. He always comes forward, but I just felt within that first minute, he was like overly, like more than normal aggressive, to be honest. Another one that I saw on Twitter, Tim Tszyu is finished at the top. By the time he reclaims the ladder, his chance will have passed him by. No, it won't. No, it won't. Tim's very young. He still has a lot of time, okay? Yes, he's definitely going to be in a rebuilding stage, and it's going to take maybe 1.5 years, 2 years to see him rebuild. He's going to take rests. He's going to have fights that are going to test him, that aren't too risky, but risky enough to see where he's at, how he is with taking a punch, how he is mentally. It's a building phase. We'll probably have 2-3 more fights, and then he goes into a title contention type fight. So all that time that happens, all this rebuilding, when that happens, how much time is going to pass? He's probably going to be like 31, 32 at that point. That's still young, especially in these times. With medicine, with better nutrition, better training methods, better recovery. Boxers' careers now are lasting so much longer than before. Athletes in general are competing and performing so much longer than before. So for someone to say that, like by the time he gets back, he's going to be old and done, is really foolish. It's no hindsight there, okay? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. I started seeing these things and it annoyed the F out of me, man, because they're just wrong. It's just wrong. It's like, and some of these guys have been in boxing for a while, and it's like, dude, you've been in boxing. Like, you've seen this happen before to other fighters, and they'll rebuild them. They'll put them into the right fights, and they'll put them in a title contention. Like, Tim's an exciting fighter. People are going to want to see him, and he's young. He's 29. Like, people are going to be like, well, that's not that young, Marcos. Well, you know what? He's closer to being still in the prime of his life compared to like being, older, so he just has a lot of work to do at this point, honestly. And they're going to be, and they need to give him, a good amount of rest, and then just got to work on these defensive liabilities that he has, and just be a little smarter in these fights. Think a little bit more in terms of the punch placement and moving your head. And yeah, you know what? maybe you do need to make a change in the corner with trainers and get a different look, a different system in there. But that's me just sounding off on some of these takes that I felt were just completely ridiculous. Calling for Tim to retire and to stop boxing, like it's just completely uncalled for. But with that being said, I wanted to do this last week on the live. I didn't get a chance to do it with you guys, but I wanted to go and look over the interview that I did with Dimitri Bivol and just kind of chat with you guys about it, talk about it, give some comments on it, some little behind the scenes tidbits as well. So one thing, so after the day after, I hit up Dimitri and I got in touch with his management team to set up an interview. He was at a hotel over there in Riyadh. He seemed fine. I saw him. Hey, what's up, Dimitri? And he was good. I'm like, hey, how you feeling? He's like, good. Where are we going to do this interview? We're going to do it outside. I'm like, all right, perfect. And I had a little chat, like a pre-chat with him before I started the interview. And I just told him like, hey, man, I thought you boxed very beautifully, bro. Like ringside, I felt that it was 7-5. I felt that you boxed well, you boxed effectively, but those last 3 rounds, man, when you look at the judges, they gave Beterbiev those last 3 rounds. You lost the fight with the last 3 rounds, according to the judges. Not to me. Like I felt that was the catch-up time for Beterbiev, where he banked those last rounds. But like, look at the scorecards and then look at those points. And if you win one of those rounds, you would have gotten a draw. And he just kind of like, he shook his head, he nodded, and then, he's like, hey, Marcos, here, please, I don't want to talk about the judges' scorecards. And I was just like, oh, great. That's like a big thing about this. Like the one judge scoring 8 rounds to Beterbiev, like what was going on there? And he's like, please. And I was like, well, all right, how am I gonna navigate this? Because sometimes you do get these sorts of things from fighters like, hey, I don't want to talk about this. And I've ended up talking about it anyways, and they're okay with it. It's just a matter of how you say it. But with this, there's some people that's like, hey, you didn't even mention about the scorecards or about the judges. And that's why, because he just didn't want to come off like he was making excuses. So with that being said, let's go ahead and play the interview that I did with Dimitri. Let me see if I can pull it up right here.
Buddy, how's it going? Marcos Villegas for Fight Up TV, being joined with Dimitri Bivol a day after his fight with Artur Beterbiev. Dimitri, how are you feeling? What thoughts, emotions do you have from the performance?
So when he came in and when I talked to him, he was in a good mood. He didn't seem like how Tim was. Obviously he didn't get knocked out and everything like that. But that was his first loss of his career, and he didn't look sad. He didn't look down. He didn't look depressed. He was very upbeat
last night.
I feel good now. I slept. I went through hard training camp, and now I'm just thinking about my future. Today we will see His Excellency. I hope he has some plans for me. Rematch or something else. I will see. I just want to look forward.
So I want to say maybe like 4 hours later after this interview, because I did this interview around like 3 in the afternoon Riyadh time with Dimitri, and then like 4 hours later I see him in a photo with Artur Beterbiev and Turki Al Sheikh. So we hope it was to discuss a rematch. We haven't heard much from that. I'm supposed to get some time with Eddie Hearn this week, and I'm going to ask him, like, hey, where are we at with the rematch? I know the IBF just scheduled this mandatory for Artur Beterbiev. I'm thinking, how are they going to navigate that? Maybe Beterbiev does the defense, the mandatory defense, and then goes into a rematch. Bivol has, some sort of, not tune-up, but a stay busy fight. And then they go into a rematch coming into 2025. Let's see.
When you think about the fight yesterday, like what most sticks to your mind about it?
It was a good fight. It was a nice, good experience. I was fighting against one of the dangerous fighter, and I feel like I did some good performance, but I could be much more better, and I have some thoughts about where I can be improved more.
Where do you think you could improve more? I know the whole world wants a rematch, and many felt that you won the fight. What can improve? Because many felt that you did enough to win.
I want to improve in more with my.
I agree, Blazers. It has to happen sooner than later because Beterbiev ain't no spring chicken. But he's in great shape for 40 years old, man.
Movements. I didn't move enough, I felt.
See, I felt he moved well enough in the fight. Like, he spent a lot of the fight moving, did Bivol. It's just he needed to throw just a little bit more to win some of these rounds. Like, talking to friends of mine, they were saying that they felt that Bivol tried to steal the rounds. Like, in the last 30 seconds, he was really active, which I do remember, him throwing flurries in some of the rounds in the last 30 seconds. But, just the big thing that comes to mind is those last 3 rounds, 10, 11, and 12, where he didn't throw much and he allowed Beterbiev, really the optics of a Beterbiev that's coming forward, even though some of these punches were being blocked by Bivol, but him throwing and these blocked punches physically moving Bivol leaves an impression with the judges.
I had to move more. I had to more counter punches. I just need to add more. I felt some moments where I could do it, but I was a little bit careful.
Cautious.
I don't know this word.
Careful, I guess.
Careful, yeah, more. Careful.
So, there was so much said about Artur Beterbiev about being, this monster, this powerful punching machine. You go 12 rounds. Was he what you expected in the ring?
Yeah, he was very similar what I was expected from him. A lot of fighters who's fighting with him, with Canelo, their emotions was against them. A lot of things depends on your emotions, on our emotions, which we are feeling, because emotions could not let you realize all your potential, and the aura around Beterbiev is like his monster and this and that. Some people will be scared of it, but I was excited.
Jeez, dude. I remember when he said that, I was like, bro, that's gangster. Like, what? He was excited to fight this guy where other people would have been like, yo, like, I need to stay away from this guy. I do not want to get hit by Beterbiev. Stay away from me, bro. Hit and move the whole night. But that's damn, man. That's a warrior mentality right there. It's like Goku.
I was trying to use the right emotions about it.
You were excited?
Yeah, because you're going against this like monster. Yeah, who's going? Only me.
He sounded like Golovkin right there. Only me.
No, yeah, and I could deal with him. It's exciting,
I could deal with him. It's exciting. Damn, this rematch is gonna be good because I think, based on that, Bivol is gonna have a lot of confidence about how he handles that pressure and the punches of Artur Beterbiev.
That's crazy. So, how did his punch feel? I'm curious. Like when he landed a first good punch, like what'd you think?
Just hard punch, nothing else. He's not about he has heavy punch and it's very dangerous. No, he's about how strong he is, and he's not only one punch. When he's trying to punching combinations, all punches in the combinations are heavy.
Jeez, imagine just douche, 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 douche. It's like Hagar from Final Fight.
No, it's not. I could compare like with the Canelo. Yeah, he put all his energy, all his power on single punch. And yeah, maybe single punch sometimes he's harder, Canelo, yeah, than Beterbiev.
No way.
Because Beterbiev didn't do like Beterbiev was more like close and
compact.
compact.
Tight guard.
Yeah. But if you ask them, let's do like 5 punches, yeah. Beterbiev, every punch will be hard. With Canelo, maybe first hard, and then not so both of them are strong, but Beterbiev is bigger and he born strong.
He's just a bigger guy. Okay. But so a lot of people were like, well, he didn't say Canelo hits harder than him. Like, that's this and that. He didn't mean that. Okay. So we just replayed it. And yes, he says Canelo, one punch hits harder because he puts all his energy into it. But if Beterbiev doesn't do that, obviously, if he did that, he would more than likely hit harder than Canelo, one punch. But that's not his style, okay? And he said, hey, punch for punch, Beterbiev did hit harder. But in the context of one punch I take from Beterbiev and one punch I take from Canelo, he just says that he felt it more from Canelo. Oh, man, but people are still up in their feelings about that. I understand.
Just physically a bigger guy, but wow, so you felt Canelo actually was a little, just one punch, a little more, like you felt it more.
More stinging, I would imagine.
Yeah, because Canelo, to land his punch, he was doing like from the distance, he was trying to put all his energy on. Beterbiev is not doing this in the ring. But if we ask him,
someone's saying he is lying. I don't think he's lying, bro.
To do it, maybe his punch is harder, but he's not using it.
It's crazy because Canelo's a little guy, little 168. It just shows you like Canelo, it's a strong guy too. But obviously there's weight classes, there's different,
Yeah, and I told you about the strategy of them. Yeah, Beterbiev is not trying to land hardest punch with full of his power, but Canelo is trying, and this is
it's just different style, man, different ways of going about it.
What I wanted to tell.
What'd you make of, well, first off, what was your plan, Dimitri? From what we saw, was that your plan?
Now, this part here kind of made me think like, oh, damn, man, like this guy really has a thinker's brain, a boxer's brain. Like, listen to what he says here.
To box, to move, to make him chase you around the ring, or did things not go the way, game plan-wise, you wanted?
My favorite fighter is Sugar Ray Leonard. I like Ali fights, and of course my plan was moving a lot because I was watching a lot of Ray Leonard fights before this fight. Repeating.
Which one?
Hagler, Leonard.
Yeah.
Duran, Leonard.
So it's interesting that he starts naming the Sugar Ray Leonard fights, okay? And then people noting that the flurries that Bivol would do in the last 30 seconds, because that's what Ray Leonard did against Hagler, and people were saying like, yeah, he would steal the rounds in the last 30 seconds. He'd throw these flurries against Hagler, and that was one of the complaints about that fight. And the scoring of the fight was like, hey, you can't give this guy a round because of the activity that he does, the 30 seconds of the last fight. So like when he said that, I was kind of like, that makes sense. Like this is what he was doing in that fight.
Second fight. And I was impressed how Leonard was moving all 12 rounds without stopping. Sometimes if he stopped, he do combination and he move again. He wasn't
which is what Bivol would do in this fight as well.
Against the Hagler. And if he stand against the Hagler, just fighting like a Hagler, it's not reasonable. You cannot fight against a guy who's stronger than you. You just have to accept it. Yes, he's stronger, but this is boxing. This is not Kyokushinkai where you are standing in front of each other and you're just hitting. You can move. And you know, in our boxing gyms in Russia, we're usually saying if your opponent is a fighter, you should box with him. If your opponent is the boxing, you should fight with him. Is it make sense or not?
It does.
Yeah,
the opposite because they're expecting.
yeah. Would better be if we have to agree that he's the strongest puncher and man in light heavyweight division. I agree with this, but it doesn't mean that he's the best one. We have another keys how to deal with it. This is boxing. This is why I love the sport. If somebody is strong, you can use his speed against him. If somebody has good speed, you have to use your brain how to deal with it. You have to use your timing, because sometimes I see people, boxers, they are so fast, but I can use my timing, and his speed, it will not be his advantage. You can counting him.
Time him.
Time him, yeah. If the person is moving so like tough forward, you can use your leg. You can. It just, I love this sign of boxing, you know.
So as the fight's progressing,
And you asked me about the tactic. Of course, the tactic was not be just standing in front of Beterbiev. Move like Ray Leonard.
as the
I wonder if he sticks with that same game plan in a potential rematch. I wonder if he thinks like, well, you know, this worked well, I just got to throw a little bit more, or if maybe he goes the approach of, okay, I fought this way and I didn't get the decision, so I need to not fight this way and maybe go to Beterbiev a little bit more, even though he just said at that earlier segment where he mentioned, hey, if a boxer fights, you should box him, and then vice versa. If a fighter fights, you should box him. If a boxer boxes, you should fight him. So let's go ahead and continue.
rounds are progressing, are you feeling you're winning the rounds, or are you thinking, this might be a little close?
I felt that I was landing good punches. I felt that I was pressured by him, but I didn't understand how people could see it, how they could get it as advantage of him, or you know.
You felt he wasn't being effective when he was pressuring.
I don't know. Maybe he was for the people, but
For you,
for me, I didn't feel too much in danger. But sometimes I felt that now I could be in troubles. I have to be focused more, much more, move forward. Don't let him too much pressure you. Just show him that his punches is not.
One thing I felt that Beterbiev did well was pressure, Dimitri. I don't think I ever really saw Bivol put Beterbiev on the back foot. There was one point where he landed a few good body shots, and I think that was like the first time in the fight. I might have happened midway through the fight where I saw Bivol be the one that was pressuring Beterbiev a little bit.
Affecting you so much, you know. Use your guard. I felt I had good episodes. He had good episodes, but I didn't counting how many episodes I did. Is it enough for win or not? And in my philosophy, I'm a warrior, and everything should be perfect. Everything what I'm doing, I have to do it well, or I shouldn't do it at all if I'm not doing it well. And this fight, I didn't do well. Maybe it's enough for to be winner. Maybe it's not enough for to be winner. But I didn't do it perfect, how I want to do it. This is why I don't like the fight. I like to do perfect.
Well, a lot of people felt you won the fight, Dmitry, regardless of you wanting to feel like you fought perfectly. Was there something in Beterbiev's game that surprised you, or you were surprised about?
He has good conditioning. Yeah, he's patient. He has good conditioning. Yeah, he was trying to take last rounds, and yeah, he was better last rounds.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. So what happened in 10, 11, and 12?
Those last rounds definitely are the rounds that sealed the win on the scorecards for Beterbiev.
In those rounds, because it seemed like he turned it up, and you didn't throw as much as you were in the earlier parts of the fight.
Yeah, this is what I don't like. I had to do it. I didn't do this 3 rounds perfect. I had to do it perfect. I didn't.
Were you tired? Was it because of his pressure? Or do you remember what was happening in those rounds?
You know, I was just trying to find again, perfect moment. Yeah. I was trying, but I couldn't. I just had to act, not just waiting. I just had to act, but I didn't. And maybe I wasn't sure it's right moment, but the time passed very fast, to be honest. Every round for me was like 1 minute, you know. And
were you ever hurt at all, Dmitry? Like, did you feel a punch and you were like, "Oh, okay, like I gotta reset and move"?
Like this, no. But I felt like, you know, with these punches, yeah, you feel like you're in troubles. You need to do something. But I didn't feel like ding something like. And when I was getting his right hand, I was also trying to get it on my.
Oh yeah, your hand is swollen right there. Yeah.
Because he was beating on my hand, and I felt like my hand could go inside of my head, you know, from the power. But it's nice.
You know, going into the last round, Dmitry, what was your corner telling you? Did you guys feel like, hey, I just got to box, I just got to do what I'm doing, but I'm winning this fight?
They were telling me, yeah, you should move, you should throw your jab more. Yeah, do like you did before. Move. Don't stand in front of him. Don't be just standing target. You should move.
So when the fight's finished, I remember watching ringside. I saw you. You put your hands in the air. You felt that you had won the fight. Just asking you, do you feel that you won the fight, Dmitry, or do you think it was close?
I felt that it was a good performance. I was happy that it's done. I didn't feel that I couldn't think about win, lose. I felt that it's done. I did a good job. Maybe not perfect, but I did a good job, and that's it.
Were you nervous at all when they were reading the scores and everything? Like, did you? I don't know. Do fighters ever feel nervous when you're standing there? You don't know really what's going on, or did you feel like, nah, like I did good?
Oh, I don't know where was my thoughts. I was just, fight is done. We just need to wait, and nothing depends on me now. I just should accept everything what I will hear now.
You know, after the fight, and I saw a clip. You know, Turkey feels you won the fight. He said he wants to see a rematch. Have you heard anything that they're going to do an immediate rematch?
Yeah, and then like 4 hours later, they had a meeting about that. Let's see what happens.
He told me also, in my opinion, you won, and I want to make a rematch for you. And now it depends on Beterbiev.
Do you think that?
Well, now workings of boxing, Beterbiev has that IBF mandatory The IBF being like the strictest of the sanctioning bodies of in comparison to like the WBC, the WBA, and the WBO. The IBF is very strict in enforcing their mandatories. That's the reason why Canelo Alvarez isn't undisputed anymore, even though he's the lineal and the Ring Magazine champion at 168 pounds. It's because they wanted him to fight against William Skull for the IBF middleweight title. Same thing with this. They are mandating Artur Beterbiev defend his IBF light heavyweight title now. So, this rematch, when you look at like the logistics, might not end up happening until the middle of 2025.
They go through with it, or do you think they might have other plans, seeing how the fight played out?
I don't know. I don't know what they have. I don't know.
Yeah. But you're hopeful though. Like, you confident that it does happen immediately?
I don't have these feelings that I'm confident or not. I'm just
chilling,
if it will
bro.
be rematch, I will be glad. If it's not, okay, what I could do, just move forward again. I don't have time to regret about something or this and that. I have time only to take decision for the future.
You're taking this very well. This is this is something that you've never experienced before as a pro.
I know.
But you're, I don't know. I feel like you didn't lose. Like you feel like a winner still.
It's only in our mind. Like you lose or you win, it's always like
It's like about perception.
it's just some. I don't. It just. I feel okay. I shouldn't. I'm trying. My philosophy. I'm trying to be calm inside of me. I'm trying to not be regretting, sad. I'm trying to not be too much excited. I want peace inside of my mind.
Yeah, exactly. Very, very stoic.
And I'm trying to get everything from the life as a challenge. I want some fight. It's the challenge for me, from God, from destiny, from I don't know whom. It's the challenge, how I will deal with this. If I lost, like today, it's a challenge for me. How I gonna deal with this? If something happened in my life, everything is challenge, and challenge couldn't be good or bad. It's just challenge. It's not about God gives or God cursing. Everything is challenge.
Wow. But you are human, and I know you have to fight emotions back. Like, was there a little bit of anger or sadness in the beginning, and then you were like, no, got to get this out?
Of course, this is the hardest work inside of me. When I have too much emotions, I'm trying to control them, and I'm trying to explain myself. Why these emotions? Why I'm getting this? Why I'm so sad or why I'm so happy? Just calm down.
That's like some good psychoanalytic stuff right there, man, in terms of controlling your emotions. I think that's something that we could all like pick up from this interview to go and improve ourselves, especially for those of us that have like tempers or like hot-headed or like quick with emotions, to kind of ask like, hey, what's causing me to feel this way? And then looking at it like, oh, okay, well, it's this and this. How do I solve that matter? Or how do I take that out of the equation so I don't feel like this? So when he said that, like, I started thinking like, damn, man, because, when I was younger, I had a really bad temper. And I was like really emotional. And even now, like as I've gotten older, I've gotten better, I've gotten calmer and everything. But like the way he put it, like, asking yourself, like, why am I feeling this way? What's causing me to feel this way? What's triggering me to feel this way? And now how do I take that out of the equation so it doesn't trigger me this way? I still think about it now, and I've been thinking about it like in situations that maybe might have annoyed me or irritated me, to live like a less stressful life. Because let's be real, man. The main reason why people age, the main reason why people get illnesses, or one of the biggest reasons is stress, man. And I've always said this, man, because I've seen it firsthand with people. Stress is the real killer. Stress is what brings all these calamities and these illnesses, man. Then compounded with crap processed food and bad food and diet and not working out and not being active. But it's really, stress is the one that goes and brings a lot of these things.
If you guys do go into an immediate rematch, Dimitri, like, do you feel like you know how to beat him, that you know exactly what to do so that it's a different outcome, a different result?
I knew before how to beat him, and he knew also how to beat me. I'm sure even you know how to beat him, yeah? But I think all fans in front of the TV, they know how to beat him and how to beat me. It's the easiest part to know, but the hardest part to do it.
So there's a comment here from McGuire. Just went to the eye doctor due to less vision in one eye. Doctor, that happens in men due to stress. Yeah, man. This is I don't know. I just seen how stress. What was one thing that really the stress thing that I figured out was when you look at the U.S. presidents, like when they enter office and then when they leave office in 8 years' time, like these guys look freaking haggard when they're done in office after 8 years. Just like so much older than they did before. Granted, yeah, I know it's 8 years. You're going to age in 8 years, but like I have friends that look the same as they did in age 30. Yes, it's a high stress environment, not a lot of sleep, but like as a very young man, I remember I'd be like, yo, man, like this dude aged, like, oh my God, why? And that's the other thing. Like, I don't understand why people, like, I do understand, but then it's like, I don't understand why like older people want to put themselves in positions of power or get jobs like that when it's like stressful, man. You don't got to put up with that stress at that age anymore, man. Like that was, let people who are in their 40s and 50s, like, deal with that type of stuff. Even in my 40s, I don't want to deal with any stress anymore. I don't want to go to any places that are going to stress me out, deal with people that are going to stress me out. Like, I want to live like the least amount of stressful life, or at least work towards that. So I don't understand, man.
Prepare yourself to do it.
I may have asked you this at the beginning, but with a rematch, I guess, looking at the scorecards, it looked like the difference was the last 3 rounds, where he might have won rounds, where you were not as active. In the next fight, do you think you change your strategy a little bit, where you just throw more punches, movement stays the same, or do you want to switch it up and you go and you fight better Biev?
I didn't think about what I'm gonna do in a rematch, and even if I start my training camp, I will not tell you. It will be a surprise for you in the ring.
Just me thinking though, Dimitri. I don't know, how did it feel when you were exchanging with Beterbiev? Because a lot of us before the fight were thinking, you can't do that. That's the worst idea, is to exchange with Beterbiev. And you did, yeah. And your speed came through. You did well in those exchanges.
Yeah, I like it.
Imagine exchanging with this dude, Beterbiev. Oh my God, that's a freaking nightmare, man. Like, I would. Obviously, I'm not a boxer and stuff like that, but you got to be on your P's and Q's with that boy. Oh my Lord.
Yeah, it's just feelings which, like, he's strong. Yeah, it's dangerous. It's very
super dangerous.
It's very big risk to exchange. This is why you need to try in right moment for exchanging. You cannot just come and exchange with him. You should try to you should find the right moment. Like he was trying to find the right moment to push me.
One thing I did notice too was, I don't know, this is just me observing, and I could be completely wrong, but when you went to the body, it seemed to really move him back and change his pace. Did you notice that when you would go to the body?
I land couple of
Yeah,
punches.
that was one thing that surprised me about the fight too. Is from both of them, they didn't go a lot to the body. You would think with Dmitry moving so much that Beterbiev might have made an adjustment or a cognitive decision during the fight to go and go to the body a little bit more. I would think in the rematch they might want to go ahead and do that to slow Dimitri's movement, his ability to move laterally, so that he becomes a bigger target for Archer to go ahead and place his punches. On the flip side too, I was surprised also that, like I mentioned earlier, I think it was like in the middle round where he landed a good body shot on Beterbiev, did Bivol, and it moved Beterbiev back, and that was like one of the first and only times that the Bivol moved Beterbiev back, and he was the guy that was pressuring for a little bit. And I was surprised like he didn't continue with that or was consistent. Maybe he was worried about getting clipped with something big, that he was leaving himself a little bit open, or maybe he felt it didn't have that much of an effect against Beterbiev. Like us watching ringside, it looked like it did, but
On the body, yeah, and I felt I landed good. Of course, it's affected. Not too much, but it's effective.
Did you guys speak at all? You and no words? No,
we didn't speak.
Yeah, I wonder what that conversation was like between them when they went ahead and they met with Turkey the day after the fight. Like, just me, if I was a competitor and I had a decision like that, a decision lost to somebody who I felt maybe I should have gotten the decision, I wouldn't want to see that person. I'm like, I don't want to meet up with this guy. Like, I don't want to be in the same room with him. Like, what the hell am I going to talk to him about? Like, I know they're both highly respectable guys, Artur and Dmitry. They see this as sport, and it's just sport, nothing personal. We're just competing. But I don't know. There was that side where it's like, I don't want to see this guy. Like, I just fought against him for 12 rounds. I high and by. That's it. Like, get me out of here. I don't even want to see this guy right now. But it tells you, how professional and how respectful and these two fighters are.
Curious, what you would say to him or what he would say to you in regards to a rematch. But that being said, if a rematch does happen, do we go into it immediately? Do we see it in 3 months, 4 months, or do you want to take some time off?
I don't know. I just need to see some options. To be honest, before this fight, all my fights, I'm trying to go like it's my last fight in the career. I'm trying to treat these fights like, and this fight was absolutely like this. I'm trying to set my mind like, this is last fight. I have to do everything well. I have to working hard. And now after the fight, I feel a little bit empty because I spent a lot of time in the training camp and the fight. I need to rest a little bit. I need to have some plans for me if this rematch will happen. And of course, I would like to fight next fight for rematch. Yeah, I don't want to do it later. Like, if we have chance to do it, let's do it.
Just to follow up on that, Dmitry, you said that you're treating every fight like it's your last fight. Yeah. Why?
Yeah, I did find that kind of weird at first, and that's why I asked that question. My first initial thought was like, oh, is he thinking about like retirement? Like, is he over this? But he goes ahead and gives his explanation right here.
It's helping to working hard in the training camp. It's helping to set your mind before the fight. You are trying to think like, okay, it's my last fight. I will not go in the ring again. How people will remember me with my last fight? I should be a man, a real man. This is why I'm trying.
When he said that, the first thing that popped in my head was, I don't know if there's any pro wrestling fans up in the chat, but remember when Steven Regal debuted in the WWE, and he dropped the gimmick that he had in WCW, and he came in as like a real man's man. Like, he came with like a flannel, like a red flannel, and he would do those just dumb promos of him like chopping wood and drinking orange juice and saying like, "Hey, I'm a real man's man." For some reason, that's the first thing that popped in my head. I don't know why.
Trying to treat it like it's last fight.
But it's not nothing where you're hinting like, oh, maybe I am thinking about stop boxing.
No, it's not about this. It's not about this. It's a little bit different. I think.
Like you're putting everything into every fight and acting like it's like an extra motivation because you tell yourself this is my last fight, so I got to put everything into it.
It's I even doesn't. I don't know what will be next fight. I'm not taking the fight after. I don't know. Yeah, we have some plans, but I'm trying to set my mind that you will not need these gloves after this training camp. You will not need this boxing shoes because it's the last fight. Like use it for maximum. Train hard. I don't know how to explain it, but in my mind, I feel like it's the last fight.
Extra motivation for him, or like a sense of urgency for him.
And then after the fight, I feel like I need rest and and do another last fight.
Yeah. Well, good stuff, Dimitri. Appreciate the time, man.
So that was my chat that I had with Dimitri Bivol after the fight. Like I mentioned, I had wanted to put it on last week, but we had Abel Sanchez on, and me and him were just discussing the fight and everything. But I did want to go and play it back and have a discussion, or at least put some commentary on the interview with you guys after that. So with that being said, man, I think we're going to go ahead and end the chat here, end the stream. I have to do an interview in a little bit with O'Shaquie Foster, unless I don't know if I could get him on here live with us. It would work maybe a little bit better if I could get him on live with us. But O'Shaquie is rematching Robson Conceição coming up in a fight that a lot of people felt that O'Shaquie beat Conceição. So I'm going to have a chat with him. We're going to have a lot more stuff coming your way. There's a Fury versus Usyk press conference happening tomorrow in London. We'll have some content from that, as well as Regis Prograis taking on Jack Catterall this weekend, this Saturday on DAZN, where we'll have coverage on that fight as well. So I just got to review my notes with O'Shaquie and do that interview. So, but I appreciate you guys tuning in with us as well. We'll be back next week, probably on Monday of next week, to go and react to this Jack Catterall versus Regis Prograis fight. This is a really hard fight for Regis, honestly. Like seeing Jack live against Josh Taylor, like the atmosphere was freaking crazy where they fought. They fought in Leeds, and Leeds is a beautiful city. Like a lot of people trashing Leeds from London, saying it's a crap city. And I'm like, geez, man, like if Leeds is beautiful, like look at all this architecture. We don't have anything like this in the United States, remotely close to looking like a city like this. Leeds is a beautiful city, party city as well, man. It's a lot of nightlife, a very lively, a very young city because there's a big university there and there's a lot of students. But the atmosphere that night for Josh Taylor was freaking insane, man. There's so much energy for that fight. But the way Jack Catterall fought against Josh Taylor, I thought, like, man, this guy's slick, highly technical, has not an awkward style, but just a hard style. And looking at Regis, I'm like, this is a hard fight stylistically for Regis. Regis has to be like Beterbiev, man. He has to be in Jack's face. He has to throw. Don't let Jack breathe. Don't let him box and move and just pile up these rounds and make it apparent to the judges that he's winning these rounds and not get pot-shotted clearly against Jack Catterall. Someone actually messaged me from his team asking me like what I thought about the fight. And I was honest with them. I'm like, yo, this is a very hard fight. Like stylistically, this is like a difficult fight for Regis. But let's see what he does, man. This will be Regis's first fight since his Devin Haney loss in December of last year, where he got just beat clearly against Devin. I believe knocked down too as well. Memory's kind of fuzzy, man, with all these fights. It's crazy. I've been to so many that they just kind of tend to blur over a period of time. But that fight happens this weekend in Sheffield, I believe. It's in England. It'll be on DAZN. I think main event should probably be like 2 p.m. Pacific time with that. But I'm interested in that fight. It's a good fight. Should be a good fight. But all right, with that being said, man, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up over here. I got to talk to Oshaki in like 10 minutes. So I got to get prepared for that. So thank you, chat. Appreciate the time as always. We'll see you next week. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the like on this stream. Say goodbye in the chat, as well as following us on social media at FightUpTV on Twitter and on Instagram and on TikTok. And then give me a follow as well at Hey It's Marcos V. You see my handle right here. Hey It's Marcos V on Instagram and on Twitter. Thank you guys. Have a good rest of your week. Appreciate the time as always. Take it easy. Peace out. Be safe out there. Have a good Halloween.